Your kingdom come, this city is yours. We're waiting on you.
Well, hi everyone. Just a little extra as we go to study beyond lockdown, as we study this business of change, inner change, resulting in outer change. And I suppose in the talk I sort of perhaps focus more on the inner change that we know and believe is possible. And I just wanted to underpin that really by saying that it wasn't because Paul is a hypocrite that he writes about these warring selves, these warring laws within himself. It was because the more he knew and loved and followed Jesus, the more he knew how much he still needed to change. And if you are listening to this, studying this, and you don't see a need for change, that's much more worrying to Jesus than if you're here saying, I know I need to change. Because that leads to judgmental behaviour, it leads to us feeling, oh, I think I'm doing okay, I'm just worried about so-and-so, when actually the goal of the Christian life is to keep on being transformed, becoming more like Jesus. In fact, even the name Christian, mini Christ, going out reflecting him so that we change the world. And a little sort of postscript really was that I was looking at Isaiah 58 and looking at the challenge that the prophet sets out as we look at this business of changing. He says, if you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, if you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday. I mean, what a promise that is. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. And that's another real promise of change, inner and outer change, that as you fight for the oppressed, as we unite against injustice in whatever form that is, we are transformed by that too. We're transformed by struggle, by suffering, by spending ourselves, by sacrifice. But actually in that, we become more like a well-watered garden, because the change that we're bringing about is kingdom change, is the change that excites and attracts the Spirit of God and his lasting work. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. And our land feels a bit sun-scorched, doesn't it, at the moment? We need the water, the refreshment of his Spirit. Maybe we've discovered that in lockdown. Maybe we're getting towards the end and just feeling a little bit weary now. I know many people are. But just saying, no, we can bring about this change because he's changing us. And so as we hold back from some of these things, the pointing finger and the malicious talk, how important is that? That actually instead of saying, oh, I'm going to judge that person or I'm going to judge this person, we think, actually, we want to change so that we bring about change. And as I said in my talk, I'm such a firm believer that this happens almost sometimes without us knowing, without us realising. It's not the try harder model so much as what John Ortberg refers to as try softer. He says it's almost like letting the river of change flow in us and through us in order that we bring about change. And so my prayer is, as we study change, as we discuss how we look at inner change and outer change, that we don't grit our teeth and think must do better, but that we have a heart's cry, Spirit of God, keep on changing me, keep on renewing my mind, my life, my all, to look more like you, Jesus. Enjoy studying and chatting together.